Listen to me. You're capable and you're strong. Look at all the things that you've accomplished. You can do this. You've got it.
Who the hell are you talking to?
Oh, I'm being positive self-talk for our listeners. Duh.
Well, they are amazing.
Yes, they're our schmoopies.
We love you so much, Schmoopies. Join us on our show today.
Come on.
Welcome to the Career Corrective, your career lifeline that gives you laugh lines with Jenny and Allie.
Welcome, listeners. It is a special one today. It's kind of bittersweet, though, Jenny.
Is this the last one of our series?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We can't self-sabotage anymore?
It's over. This is it. This is our final episode on self-sabotage. We are excited, but it's sad that we have to say goodbye.
Bye to it. We're moving on. Have you ever heard of the freeze frame from the 80s? That's what we're going to talk about today, 80s songs.
If you sing the song Freeze Frame, frontward or backward, you will not self-sabotage anymore. Podcast over.
Done. Bye. We love you. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. Today we're actually talking about the art of the reframe.
Oh, I love it. It's really a powerful tool and so exciting. I will try not to nerd out too much, but I think there's going to be some really good, helpful tidbits for our amazing listeners.
Yeah, I think you should nerd out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask me twice.
I know. We're making a lot of dreams come true, right? That's what
we're doing our best.
I know. But listen, before we get into the show today, what's going on in your kitchen?
This is funny because this is so us, how we are slowly revealing more and more about ourselves on the episode. We're not big on big fancy intros talking about ourselves. We already know Jenny has a complicated relationship with pumpkin spice.
Thank you for supporting me on my journey.
And that we live in Florida. Those are the two things that you know.
That's the problem with pumpkin spice. It has no business being in hot weather.
Refer back to episodes 1, 2, 3, and 5 to get more on Jenny's issues with pumpkin spice. But the other thing I want to tell you today is that we are cousins. Yes. And the Greek yogurt reputation is known in our family. They know we love anything Greek yogurt. I was talking to our fave, Aunt KK.
Yeah. KK.
And she was telling me about the Greek yogurt pizza dough. So I finally made it.
Wait a second. There was Greek yogurt in the pizza dough that we used to have when we were little?
No. Gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Regina will link that recipe in our socials, but it is, everybody knows about it. It was delicious. But what Jenny was just mentioning before is when we were little, we had pizza at Kay's, our aunt, and she used bread dough instead of pizza dough. I didn't know that when I was little. I just knew it was delicious.
We just knew it was clouds of deliciousness, right?
Doughy, what is it, 4 inches, 5 inches?
I'm going to say 5. I'll say 5.
A nice thick sauce and some Monterey Jack cheese.
I know. It's Monterey, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a mozzarella.
No, it's not a traditional pizza. It's a whole different ballgame. But we can ask her how to make it and have Regina link that below too, because you would love to make this for your kids. It's really, but adults too. It's still to this day my favorite. Yeah. I have no other Greek yogurt news.
All right, so reframing. Can you give us the benefits, the steps? What is it?
Yes. Reframing is basically positive thinking. It's not this Pollyanna, oh, if I just have a good attitude and shove down my feelings, everything's going to be okay. It's a tool written about in a lot of business articles. There's an article on business.com and it talks about the power of positive thinking, but that's what reframing does for you. And it speaks to the resilience that it brings. If you think of anything in your personal life, let's just say you're dealing with your kids for a day and there is a lot of commotion and a lot going on. You run out of patience eventually. It's human nature if you run out of patience. Reframing, and you can think of it at work as well. If you have an annoying coworker and you know you have a lot of meetings with them that day, you're going to eventually be annoyed at something that they do.
Absolutely.
This is a tool. Think of it as a cup that you're filling up with annoyances or negativity. If you keep emptying the cup out and have a tool to do that, reframing, you are going to be more clear and approach things in a more positive way rather than running out of patience and being frustrated, acting out of frustration. In the business articles, it talks about how a lot of leaders use reframing to attain their resilience, their stamina, to be successful, to maintain their demeanor and capability. Decision making improves, you're more resilient, you have more energy, and really the biggest one is that you're more capable in problem solving. This is a powerful tool that you can use at work and in your life, and that's why we're talking about it today.
Now it's time for our segment, You Be the Judge. Allie, what I'd like you to do is walk through the steps from the American Psychological Association about reframing to help our listeners tackle those moments when negative thoughts and emotions pop up, and we're going to chat through them together. As always, our listeners, you get to be the judge if it's something that you're open to trying in your life. Are you ready?
We're ready.
All right, step 1. Identify the situation. Take a moment to think about what triggered your upset feeling. Was it an argument, an event you attended, or maybe it was a memory of something that happened a while ago? Write down 1 or 2 sentences describing what was going on when the distressing thought or feeling arose. Keep it simple. The step is just capturing the what of that moment.
Yeah, this happens so fast. And I love when we break these steps down because I think it slows down. If this happened in real life, something triggered you or there was something that upset you, you're not slowing down to think, what bothered me here?
No.
And this is something that you're going to want to practice. It's going to take time to start to notice it. And for myself, one of the things that I've noticed is if you're upset about something, it could have very little to do with what happened just prior. I'll give you an example. If you are stuck in traffic on your way to work, somebody cuts you off or somebody doesn't go as fast as you want them to go, you could have frustrations built up from something that happened the night before, the week before. You could be thinking about a family member who is being argumentative and causing chaos for the family. You could be thinking about a coworker. It's been weighing on your mind that a coworker is distressing you because you're working on a project and they're not behaving in a way that's making it easy for you or a pleasure to work with. There could be all of these building blocks that are weighing on you when the annoying thing in the traffic happens. And reframing, this is kind of contradictory, but reframing is, it doesn't matter really what the root of this is. Just pick the biggest thing that you can think of. The point is you're identifying something to deal with. And this process of reframing will help you deal with it. And then if something's still bothering you, you can always go back to the beginning. The way that would break down is this person cut me off in traffic and I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
And let's just say that you start this step. And clearly, if you're driving, you're not going to be writing it down. You're just going to be thinking, what is annoying me? And you'll think, that person who just cut me off, that's what's bothering me. And you identify it. Now we'll walk through the rest of these steps. If you then realize you still don't feel good or you're annoyed, you can then go right back again and say, actually, I had this conversation with my coworker yesterday and that really pissed me off. And identify that one. And this is to be able to clear the cup out, like we talked about. It's helping you process these things. So don't get caught up into the first step, because the purpose is to work all the steps and work the muscle of getting these things worked through. It's going to lead to the positive benefits that they write about in business articles, resilience, etc.
Okay.
What's next, Jenny? What do they
Yeah.
do next in reframing?
Rename the feeling. What is it? Fear, anxiety, anger? I don't know. Is it guilt or shame?
Are you just listing the characters from the movie Inside Out? I watched part of it with my nieces and I thought, oh, this actually is very helpful in helping you process emotions.
I know. I make a point to watch it with Madeline and discuss it. And she's like, Mom, can you just let me listen to this?
There's a trick that I use.
Yes.
If you start to think about, am I angry? Am I sad? Do I feel anxious? Then you're going to start to go along with that feeling. You're going to make it worse. Naming the feeling is to distance yourself from it and to follow this process. So reframing would be, we'll go back to step one.
Okay.
I'm pissed off because this person cut me off in traffic. We're just starting with whatever comes to your mind, naming that feeling. I'm angry. Maybe I'm a little anxious that I'm going to be late to work. The point is naming them. It identifies it for you just to be able to go to the next step. But if you do it in the way where you buy into the feelings, that's the opposite of what you want to do. Now I'm angry. That person cut me off. What else pissed me off? You don't want to snowball it. You want to name it.
Would a healthy way of doing it be like, I am angry that this person doesn't know how to drive. And I really think that they should get off the road right now. Or take another driving class. That would be helpful for them. And then I wouldn't have to deal with this right now and everybody else on the road. Was that a good way of doing it? That I reframed that. I made it about them. Like, geez, maybe they need to pull over and think about it.
Because that's the opposite of what
I reframed it. I took it away from me. I'm angry about it, but like, let's focus on them. What are they going through? Do they just not know how to drive? Right? I feel like that's a good suggestion. I'm keeping that one in my toolbox. Tell you that much.
The best part of the whole thing is how you're doubling down on it.
I'm angry, but I also have a lot of empathy for this person, because what in the world is going on? Try it out today, guys.
You're going to get yourself more upset.
I reframed it. I'm upset, but I'm upset for them. I pushed it off on them. I'm sorry, everyone, that we're all on the road and that we have to deal with this. Not just me. You, Sharon, over there drinking your coffee, just trying to get to work. Bob, who should probably turn down his music because it's terrible.
Or just having fun with it and going in a different direction. You can name the feeling.
Sadness. All right, let's take a deeper dive into this, because the other day I was coming home and there's this big
This is turning into an episode about road rage.
just driving. We're going to reframe and just talk about driving. So I was going around. There's, you've been there. The loop. It's very confusing for people. It's like, oh, do I yield to you? We're yielding, we're not yielding, blah, 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 blah. So it's coming through, and this guy was coming on and just kept going. And he should have yielded to me. He needed to stop. And at first I slowed down and I gave him a look like, hey, what's going on here? And he just looked back at me. So I think I handled that very well. I didn't go off on him. I didn't throw my hands up going, what the heck are you doing? I just looked. I looked in his eyes like, whoa, sir, you're a little older. You shouldn't be on the road. And I think he knew it. He knew it at that moment. He gave me a look like, you're right. You're right. I'm going to let you go. And then I'm going to pull over and think about this, what I just did. And I felt good about it, because I was like, I just did him the biggest favor of his life. I almost ran right into him.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, I got us off track a little bit.
I think what I'm going to do is go into a different example and get out of the drive, get into a topic that's less triggering for you. So now I know Jenny has issues with pumpkin spice and driving. Okay, you guys?
This is a theme. I've mentioned it before.
Driving?
Yes. With blinkers. That was episode 3.
Because
to
we
move
wouldn't have
on from it.
No, we wouldn't have gotten all that humor without it. Let's make the situation we identify the annoying coworker instead.
Okay.
You're on a project and somebody's not handing in their work or getting their stuff done on time, and you've had it. Write down or think about what's going on. Harold from accounting didn't get his stuff in again. Then you're going to name the feeling. This made me angry. This made me annoyed. This made me fearful that we're not going to get our project in on time.
Right.
With the feeling in mind, in step 3, what thoughts are making you feel that way? What about this feels unfair? It feels unfair that Harold never does his work on time and I'm always carrying the project. You know how you are, Harold.
Harold, you're always pawning it off and making me responsible for it.
Then you think about what evidence supports that thought. And it would be, he's done this to me before. It's happened over and over. And then you could, in reframing, think maybe Harold has stuff going on at home and I don't know about it.
That's right. You don't know.
Maybe no one's there to pack his lunch.
Yeah, he had a bad ham sandwich.
If you can, that's the crucial part in thinking of the evidence to support the thought that drove the feeling, which is, maybe I could cut Harold a break. Go full spectrum there to think all of what could be going on. Then you could approach Harold with kindness and empathy, but also you need to address it in a way that fixes the situation. Saying, Harold, if you can't get your work in on time, we're going to have to allocate that to someone else. I can't be carrying all of your work.
Harold, I'm really concerned that you're lazy and you don't contribute. Like, is everything going okay at home? Could you say that to him? It's none of my business, but I'm going to ask. Because your lack of effort is making me angry. See how I reframed that? See what I did there, listeners?
You are hilarious. Anything you can do to help yourself and clear out that emotion, process it, and get yourself to a positive place. That's
Yes.
what we're talking about.
That's yes. All right. We're going to talk about some work scenarios where we set the scene and then show how reframing can impact them, and then talk about each of them.
And maybe give some silly, hilarious suggestions as well. And you all get to guess which are real and which are nonsense. We're going to keep everyone on their toes.
Okay. All right. Here's the situation. Not speaking up in meetings. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the backstory. Sarah has been part of her team for 6 months. She's smart, dedicated, has great ideas, but she hesitates to share them in meetings. She's worried that her suggestions might seem off base, so she stays quiet, nodding along. After a while, she notices that her team members don't look for her input, and she feels sidelined.
What's the reframe, Jenny?
Sarah thinks everyone here was hired because they have something to contribute, including her. So even if her ideas need refinement, it could lead to a solution. She said, speaking up in meetings shows that I'm invested and my ideas matter just as much as anyone else's. So in the next meeting, she shares her thoughts and her manager compliments her for bringing up a unique angle. And with that, it encourages her to contribute more. She keeps at it. Yeah.
This is illustrating the process so nicely, and it shows what would happen in a perfect world. I would love to add in some things that I think could make it more realistic
Okay.
for our listeners to be helpful.
Yes.
If you are uncomfortable talking in meetings and you have trouble with that, 2 things that I've done, and I've encouraged other people who have trouble with this, because a lot of times the reason you have trouble speaking up is because the culture feels unsafe. The culture feels fake. People are judgmental, and that's not in your head. In those situations, number 1, speak up on regarding something that has nothing to do with your thoughts or your opinion, just to start. What I mean by that is, if somebody gives an example of something and you think it's a somewhat good idea, compliment them, talk about whatever you can find that's positive and genuine, because you're all genuine, amazing people, and that's why you'd want to listen to us. Think about something that you can say that is genuine and just get you comfortable speaking in a meeting. It doesn't need to be anything that you're contributing. Now, on the other hand of addressing how to build up a positive reputation, if you're not comfortable speaking up in meetings, do it in other ways to start. Can you do a follow-up email? I put this Excel spreadsheet together as a tool for everyone that could be used for A, B, and C, what we discussed in the meeting. Show your value in a way that feels good to you and coming from a place of confidence, and then address the speaking up in meetings in a different way. You segment the issues to attack both. And then those behaviors will then get you feeling better about yourself over time. And then eventually you may share one idea in a meeting that feels safe, and that's great. But don't limit yourself to, if you start telling yourself, speaking of reframing, if you start telling yourself, I have to speak up in meetings, it's the only way to show value, everyone has good, and you're forcing that, you're going to make yourself feel worse. You're going to make yourself feel more anxious.
Yes. That actually just happened to me in a meeting.
Whoa, really?
Yes. And I felt like I'm not speaking up. I'm not speaking up. And after the meeting, I processed it and just said, okay, you didn't speak up in that meeting, but you're going to give it a shot at the next one. You do have a lot to add to the conversation, so you'll get your chance to do that. I downplayed it in my head.
You just gave a great tip too, because adding to the conversation is that next step. Putting yourself on the spot to bring about an idea feels like a lot of pressure. But if somebody says something, for example, if they said, I think we should send out the report on Fridays that contains our weekly numbers, and then you say, that's a great idea. We send out another report on Fridays, and I've noticed that it works really well for A, B, and C. You're tagging on, Jenny, to what
Yeah.
they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
which feels a little bit more comfortable than this fresh, new, original idea. What you're planning on doing is a great way to build up that capability. And the downplaying that you're referencing is a reframe from the perspective of you have a lot to offer and you'll get it next time. That puts you in a more positive state for whatever day that meeting was to then continue on with your work. So it definitely was the best way to handle it. Great job. All right, give us
All
another
right.
one,
Yeah,
will
let's do
you?
another one. Oh, okay. This kind of relates back to our previous episode. Procrastinating on a project
Mm-hmm.
is the sitch. We have Jamal, and he's got a big presentation due in 2 weeks. He keeps telling himself that he'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. So, in his mind, he's waiting until he has the whole presentation planned out perfectly. But as the deadline looms, he's barely started, and the pressure is making him more stressed and less able to focus. The reframe would be he tells himself, I don't
Mm-hmm.
need perfection to start. If I break it down, I can make progress each day and I'll feel less overwhelmed. He decides to begin with an outline.
Okay.
He starts working on it.
Mm-hmm.
He feels more motivated. And then by the end of the week, he has a rough draft, realizes that the small steps made it easier.
In thinking about how this could play out in your world, though, let's talk about a way for you to get there if you really feel stuck. Something that I think is really helpful to when you work with somebody is to create a relationship where you have brainstorm sessions if you feel stuck, and you
Right.
can do that for each other if you're working on something. So say Jenny and I work together and I have a report that I need to put together or a project due, something that she's not working on. I would say, hey, do you have 10 minutes to meet with me? Not come prepared to that meeting and say, my presentation on is A, B, and C. I'm having trouble starting. I thought of this, that, the other. See if that person that you've built a good relationship with, that you work with, can just give you that one little nugget that
Yeah,
can spur you into an idea and just get you started. Sometimes that's all you need is another set of eyes on it.
that's right. Very helpful. We have another situation. Avoiding asking for help when needed. This, this one hits hard for me. Yeah, Amanda's been struggling with new software her company introduced.
Mm-hmm.
She spends hours trying to troubleshoot the issues herself, afraid that if she asks for help, her coworkers will think she's incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
But as she continues to struggle, her frustration grows and her productivity plummets.
Ah.
Yeah. The reframe is she realizes it's okay to ask for help. People respect me more for wanting to learn than for struggling in silence.
Mm-hmm.
So Amanda reaches out to a colleague who knows the software well, and they're happy to walk her through the tricky parts. Not only does she feel more confident, but her productivity goes back up and she's able to help others when they have questions. So hard though. It's hard to make that step.
Okay. In thinking about the worst case scenario here, if it's hard for you, if somebody really, really struggles with this,
Mhm.
how can they get started? What's that tipping point for this personality type? Well, you just said
This
you.
is
th-
me. This
Okay,
is me.
so then maybe you could tell me if this would be helpful. I
Okay.
think if you approach somebody and think of a way that you could help them to
Okay.
say, I know that you're working on such and so, and I'd love to help you with that. I am working on this software and I could use another set of eyes. And I hate to put you out. So, whatever I can do to help you with just softening it in that way and reminding them that you're always there for them and you wouldn't be asking if it weren't important. Could
That
you
would
do
be
something?
helpful.
Could you picture yourself really doing that?
Yeah, I could. I
If
have
you,
done that.
oh, okay.
Not no, I
Seems
mean things still come up. It's not my natural go-to. Just to be like, I need help. But I have to force myself.
think of it in a personal way where the person wants the spouse to know how hard they work and they're just
Yeah.
hoping they notice. When they cook, they sprinkle flour on their face and come out like, oh, I'm so tired. Look at all that I've done. And they're totally oblivious. If you're waiting for someone to notice that you need help and give it to you,
Yeah. Not
no,
great.
not going to
Great.
work.
No.
Well, it's probably not going to work.
No. I'm over here struggling. Hi.
And you're doing your best performance to make it clear. The gasping.
I was just gonna say, oh,
No traction on that? Okay, I'm just going to continue. I would go with you, but I'm just so exhausted. Nothing? Okay, well then I'll see you after.
that didn't work.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for another situation?
I think this is our last one, isn't it?
This is. All
This
right.
is.
Feeling resentful of constructive feedback. The backstory. Here we go. When Elena's supervisor gives her feedback on a project, she feels deflated. Instead of seeing it as an opportunity to improve, she views it as a confirmation that she's not good enough.
Aw.
I feel like that's like the common
Yeah.
viewpoint there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Her defensiveness builds, making her avoid her manager and second guess her work. So the reframe would be she tells herself, hey, feedback isn't judgment, it's a chance to grow. My manager believes in me and wants me to succeed. With this mindset, Elena starts seeing feedback sessions as learning moments. She applies her supervisor's advice, noticing her quality of work improves and her manager's praise increases.
Yeah, that's the whole cycle right there in a nutshell. Behavior, the thought leads to the behavior, leads to the reinforcing result. I'm getting this feedback. I'm going to put it in a positive light, which makes me do better work, which makes the manager's praise increase. And these examples are tidy and in a perfect world kind of examples, but we're using them purposefully to keep showing the process over and over. Of course, I have to add in how to bring it into the real world. If you think about what's happening here, constructive feedback, crucial conversations, all of these concepts from work, and they're really for your personal life as well. The fear underneath is, oh no, I could be fired. Oh no, they're going to think I'm not good enough. You feel like external feedback is going to dictate your future when you're fearful of it. I might not have my livelihood or my job. Talking yourself down from that feedback isn't a judgment. You could even talk to the person giving you feedback and say, with honesty, this is great feedback. I want to make sure that I'm performing at a level that is satisfactory. Give them some insight where they could react and say, oh my gosh, of course not. You're doing a great job. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give you something to add to it or make it better. And that's all this is about, or something that they could say that's reassuring to help you back to a good place with it.
That's so helpful, Allie.
But if you have, a boss who's drinking boxed wine in their office after 11 a.m., you think, I'm supposed to take your advice? I don't think so.
Oh, no. We're drinking warm wine.
Oh, no, they have a cooler in there. I'd like to end our episodes with helpful tips for people. We've walked through some good examples. We've walked through some things not to do.
Or you can do them.
You sure can, Puddin'. But I think metaphors are really powerful and helpful. I thought I could go through a few of them
Yes.
just to make it stick, thinking of our amazing listeners throughout their week and this reframing tool as their way of avoiding self-sabotage so they can go and achieve their dreams, walking through how reframing for yourself to be helpful.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, I'll hit you with the metaphor and then you tell me if you think it's good or you can make some sort of joke that takes us totally off track.
Okay, it's my specialty.
Okay, putting on a new pair of glasses.
Okay, I already love it.
Oh, good. I think it's a good one. If you go throughout your day and you have the wrong prescription, say you went to the optometrist on the wrong side of town.
This is a true story for me.
No, what happened?
Currently, I have the wrong prescription for my contacts.
Oh my goodness.
I've been wearing my glasses.
Thank God you have them.
They're getting funky, so I got to keep clearing them. I'm using a new face oil. I've been using moringa oil on my face for fine lines.
Oh my God.
So really,
the conjunctivitis
it is like putting on a new pair of glasses that I can't see.
Oh my God.
But blurry all the time. Do you know how many? I have a whole box of cleaning pads. I just keep going through them. I'm going to keep putting my face oil on, though, because it's really helping.
Oh.
Way to make it about you, Jenny. Jeez.
No, I love it. I love it. So moringa oil for fine lines, but they don't mix well if your contacts are broken that week and you have to wear
glasses. I was hoping you would do a glasses metaphor.
I've been sitting on that one for a good week.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
In the reframing.
Don't put it close to your eyes. Get the right prescription.
There you go. There it is. There it is. Metaphorically speaking, back to a regularly scheduled program. It helps you see more clearly and accurately without the distortions of your conjunctivitis or your negative thinking.
Come to think of it, I do have a lot of eye problems. Let me take over this segment to discuss my eye issues. Back in 2020, I slept with my contacts in and I woke up blind.
I remember this and it's not even
funny, but it was a whole month.
2020 was very stressful, so I'm wondering if that could have played a part into it.
Maybe.
Stressful time for the entire world.
You know why? Because I wasn't reframing things in my life.
Way to bring it back.
Right? You like that?
I do. The only other thing I can think of is if you're trying to reframe using an updated GPS versus one with old maps in it. So if you're using the latest GPS, you're going to get to the right place. But really, wearing the new glasses, that's the keeper in my book.
Yes. Get the right prescription.
Yes. Get the right prescription. Don't go to Jenny's optometrist. Yeah. If you want your glasses done wrong, that would be the commercial.
You want to go back 5 times.
They actually give you glaucoma there. They don't fix it. If you want conjunctivitis, go to Schmishmerica Schmest.
Or any other itis.
Yeah.
That's your place.
That's your place to go.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much to our listeners for joining us. I think we had probably 80% nonsense and maybe 2 helpful things today, but we're rolling with it. We want you to laugh with us. We want to be helpful. Sometimes it's like a recipe, different proportions of each, but either way, we love hanging out with you and we hope you will join us next week. But in the meantime, we love you.
We love you. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.